It's so fascinating to me how trauma can blindside a person from developing their own needs. I mean, I suppose that it has to do with boundaries. When you never learn about yourself, your identity, right? You never learn about boundaries. You never learn about where you begin, where you end, what is your stuff, what isn't your stuff. But it's just so interesting because I'm finding myself learning more about my needs and actually communicating them a lot. A lot. Like, it kind of like surprises me when I find myself doing it. And it's like, oh yeah, I have needs. I'm a human being. I have needs. That's real. It's cool. There's a movie that's actually called Upgrade. It's kind of challenging because I want to talk about the movie a little bit in this. It's what I would argue to be a great movie, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. Um, but I just kind of wanted to talk about how learning about my own needs as a result of healing, it's basically like an upgrade. It really is. I'm learning things about myself that I didn't previously know, and it's allowing me to see myself in a different way, right? And it's actually very empowering to communicate needs with absolutely, by the way, with absolutely zero anxiety around the needs. It's very easy to have anxiety around things that you're not confident about. And it's also very fascinating too because when you look at like, trauma, for instance, right? Say, for instance, you're invalidated and gaslit, your reality is denied, you're led to believe that whatever you think and feel is just not real, right? That's going to make it very challenging for a person to vocalize their needs, right? And especially for people who learned codependency. Um, Codependency is how you feel is how I feel, right? Codependency, people pleasing, enmeshment, all of that stuff. And the more I look at it, the more I'm like, oh, I never really developed my needs or even like what I like and what I dislike. I remember earlier on in life when I used to just go along with what other people liked because I wanted their validation. I wanted their approval, right? And now, like, I don't give a shit. it's like I love me, and if somebody doesn't, I don't want them in my life. That's just that simple. Um, but truly, uh, I'm realizing now that not having developed needs, I think it's a sign of like people pleasing, codependency, enmeshment, trauma from all of that stuff. It makes sense. It really does. So yeah, like learning about and communicating my needs is very interesting to me now because it's absolutely fascinating. It's like, oh yeah, I have needs. I have likes, dislikes, all that stuff. Wants as well. And just like allowing those things to be there. And by the way, what I've learned is that the more I communicate them, the more confident I become in them, right? It's very easy to believe that your needs are non existent, especially when healing or just being stuck in codependency, people pleasing, and enmeshment, right? There's no sense of individuality there, right? The individuation, the differentiation has not happened, right? So really, like spending time by the self, in this case for me, spending time by myself and just learning about myself and what it is that I like, dislike, want, and need, what it is that I will absolutely not have, right? Looking back to earlier on in life when the id, right? That massive no, right? When you set the boundary and It's either disrespected and violated or it's respected. It's very interesting how early on boundaries are just naturally formed for us. And we live in this society that just like tears it apart. You know, like society is absurdly boundaryless. It really is. It's without boundaries. Look at everything. I mean, not everyone is boundaryless. There are a lot of people out there that are actually healthy, safe, and stable. But for a majority of everything, look at the news outlets. Look at all the bullshit that we see on TV every day. Look at social media. Look at everything. Everyone wants to know everything about everything. And some things are just meant to be left to a person or between people, and a lot of people have a really fucking hard time respecting that. And it's absurd. The same thing with wants and needs. You know, like these are all boundaries, right? And a lot of people have a very hard time communicating their wants and needs because they've been led to believe that they are supposed to put everyone else first. Or if they do put themselves first, they are selfish. No. No. You need to be your own person. There needs to be healthy individuation and differentiation. And the person needs to develop their own healthy, integrated sense of self. That's all that it is. Right? And my needs are going to be different from another person's needs, and that's okay. The most important thing is that I can be confident in communicating that. And, by the way, not just only confident in communicating that, but also walk the fuck away right then and there if it is not respected. Shit, the amount of times that I have just stayed in situations with people when I clearly shouldn't have because my boundaries, my needs, my wants, everything was just not being respected. But this is, of course, a result of other people that don't have boundaries are not going to respect people that do have boundaries. That's what I've learned. People that don't have boundaries do not respect people that do have boundaries. So what do the people that do have boundaries do? They listen to their boundaries and they walk away. Because that's how that works. It's just very cool to be looking at my needs and stuff and be like communicating. It's kind of like I'm walking through a movie scene as the main character. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I've got needs. These are them, by the way. Fuck with me, and I'm out. Have a nice day. It's cool. It's fun. Needs and being confident in them and communicating them, having absolutely zero anxiety around them, yeah, that's a tropical breeze right there.